90s Nightmares podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 90s Nightmares podcast. This is the season 1 recap. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Darek.
And I'm the other one, and my name is Booze.
We're happy you're here, man. So let's just jump in, dude. So season 1, episode 1, The Tale of the Phantom Cab. On an S tier, A, B, C, D, F tier scale,
Okay.
This one's coming in super high for me. I would put this pretty much S tier, dude.
Yeah, I'm torn between A and S and a little bit, but if I had to go one way or the other, I'm going to lean towards S just because of the sheer the creepiness of the story, especially at the end. It was like for a kid's show. When you think about it on the grand scheme of things, it's pretty creepy and pretty dark. So I'm gonna have to give it to S.
It's one of the scariest, if you really think about it, one of the scariest stories. And they came out with a banger, dude. So season 1, episode 1, The Tale of the Phantom Cab, S tier.
S tier.
Let's jump over to the next one, The Tale of Laughing in the Dark. Zeebo the Clown. This is where Zeebo comes from.
Yeah.
We get to see, Aaron for a second time. He was Dr. Vink in the first one, and now he played the Carney in this one, and also credited as Zeebo himself. So he's coming in hot the first couple episodes, dude.
Yeah, and I don't know where you're at with this one, but it's going to be a little beating a dead horse for me, at least for the first two. Laughing in the Dark is going to be S tier for me as well.
Yes, I would have to agree. The insults were so 90s.
Yeah.
It was such a fun time, dude, and the story as well. And
I'm not a really clowns are not really a phobia for me. I'm not really scared of clowns, but if I was, especially I can imagine watching this as a little kid would probably be between this and somehow watching It. One of the two would probably be like the epitome of the scariest clowns in the world for me, because the clown itself was pretty creepy.
Yes, and let's touch on another point that we did during the recap of this specific episode. The miniseries came out, I think, a year or two before this episode did. So certainly there was some influence. You think?
I think so. I think so.
Clowns were just scary, dude. But
they were.
I'm with you though. I don't have a clown thing.
Yeah, it's just not mine. Trust me, I've got other phobias that creep me out, but clowns just aren't on that list for me. So,
All right, booking. What is
moving on?
The next one is episode 3, The Tale of the Lonely Ghost. Sure, yeah, let's talk about this one. Not a scary tale by any means.
No.
Oh shoot, I said scary tale on accident. Here's your first fun fact of this episode. When DJ McHale, the creator of Are You Afraid of the Dark, was pitching the show, he wanted to call it Scary Tales, like fairy tales, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But scary. And
scary.
Nickelodeon was like, yeah, dude, I don't know. That's not a very Nickelodeon name.
Yeah, it's not.
Because at the time they had shows like You Can't Do That on TV, and other.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on some other ones, but
there's a lot of like straight to the point, like exactly what this show is about type of thing.
Yes. So Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's a name that I absolutely hate typing out on the keyboard every time.
For sure. For sure.
Every time I'm doing SEO or like uploading something, but
it's lengthy.
Yeah, dude. It is for sure. And even the acronym AYAOTD.
Yeah.
Even that doesn't
really
good.
help. No, not really.
So anyways, it almost was called Scary Tales, but it wasn't.
The more you know.
So getting back to the episode, The Tale of the Lonely Ghost, one of the saddest episodes.
Yeah, it definitely was.
I'd probably put this low B.
Yeah, I was high C, low B.
High C. Yeah, I think we're in that same boat. If there was like a C.5, this would be it. Like, let's call it a C+.
If I could label this one a beverage, I would definitely name it high C. Like the drink,
high C, Hawaiian Punch. I see. I see what you did there. All right, man. What's next? Oh yeah, The Tale of the Twisted Claw. Right?
Yeah.
If you remember, this was the very first episode that they shot and aired as the pitch to Nickelodeon.
Yes.
They filmed this in 1990, even though the series didn't start until 1992.
Right.
So that's why it kind of maybe looks and sounds a little bit different because they had kind of a different team on there, and it was a whole 2 years prior to everything else this season.
Yeah. I'm torn between two again, but if I have to go with my gut, I think I'm going to say like a high B.
B,
And
okay.
yeah, and I think a lot of that was just stems straight from the darkness of this episode, kind of compared. It wasn't quite as dark as the Phantom Cab, but like with the parents dying and stuff like that, and that kind of gave it that creep factor, and the you don't always get what you wish for type of thing, or be careful what you wish for, that type of thing, plus the direct ties to the monkey's paw. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a high B.
Okay. I'm not going to fight you on that. Yeah, I think we land on the same spot.
Okay, cool.
What's next? Episode 5, The Tale of the Hungry Hounds, the best one.
The best.
Yo, we gave this one so much crap throughout the
S.
entire season, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Triple S. If there was an S plus, no, this is absolutely F, dude.
Yeah, doo-doo paper. This is not good. Not good.
F for me.
F is no question. I don't even really need to harp on it too much. We definitely have knocked this episode throughout the entire season. So if you've been listening thus far, already know how we feel about this episode.
All right, yeah. The only thing that I think of when I think of that episode is, one, how unfun it was, and then two, her carrot in that back pocket. Do you remember that scene? She whipped out her carrot so fast, dude.
She did. She had that carrot just strapped and locked and loaded.
The next one is The Tale of the Super Specs. This is one of your favorites.
Yes, it definitely is, and
for good reason. So
for
what would you rate
very good
it?
reason. S tier for me.
S?
For sure. Yes.
Yeah. I agree, dude. This was the first one that was like, the writing was there, the acting was there, the idea was there. The twist at the end was so fun, dude. It kind of made you realize, oh, there's a whole nother perspective that I had no idea.
Right.
It was just eye-opening.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really good episode.
And I loved the juxtaposition of those dark, shadowy figures.
Oh, yeah.
In the rainbow glitter, kaleidoscope filter that they were presented in.
Yeah, that was cool. A fan favorite for me as well.
All right, S tier on this one.
Absolutely.
Up next is The Tale of the Captured Souls. I liked this one a lot more than you did. I would give this one a solid B.
Yeah, I think I'm going with C on this one, because I just it was not a bad but not great. It's not one of those ones that, like, you ask me to talk about Are You Afraid of the Dark, this isn't going to get mentioned very quickly for me. But it's not, Hungry Hounds level either. So
no.
Average for me.
Okay, you know what? I can respect that. I disagree, because this was not a very scary one.
No.
But the story was still good. I'm trying to think of all the points. So it was an old story that that's been around for literally hundreds of years.
Yeah, for sure.
Just put through like a Nickelodeon lens, and maybe that's just why I liked it so much.
I mean, the concept itself I'm into, but I think it was, again, I'm definitely one of those weirdos or whatever you want to call it. Like, there would be certain elements to a show that will take me out of it. And that one kid, just, I don't know what it was. It just continued to remove me from it. And I couldn't take it as seriously as I probably should have, just because of a few moments. But again, the concept itself, I like that concept. And it was delivered in a pretty typical, great Nickelodeon fashion. But it just wasn't enough. Wasn't enough to get it up anymore for me.
Yeah. You did not like Peter. That's for sure.
No.
I thought he was great.
Yeah.
The Tale of the Nightly Neighbors, dude. Cool.
Very good episode.
I like this one. I love this one, dude. This was like I remember strikingly, because the storyteller of this episode, I forget her name, but she was getting ragged on by everybody else. Everyone in the group was like, yeah, your stories are they're not scary. They always have some kind of happy ending. What's the point of even you telling us a story? And she was like, hold my beer. She said, hold my high C. This was the first episode where I was like trying to figure out, I had my writer hat on and I was going, how are they going to get out of this? How are they going to explain all these things away? But the answer was in front of us the whole time.
It was. And the ending, the delivery, the gotcha moment type of thing at the end that you didn't expect, that was pretty good too.
Yes, dude. So, Tale of the Nightly Neighbors, I give it. I'm feeling generous today, man. S.
You're gonna give it an S. I'm gonna give it an A.
I mean, I was trying to think of a reason why I wouldn't give it an S, and I mean,
The only reason in my
I
head,
can't.
like whenever my scale, at least in my head, is Tale of Super Specs or Laughing in the Dark or episodes like that, I hold it
Oh.
up in my head and then I put this episode right next to it. And if this or that episode just slightly takes the edge for me, then I know, okay, this is just slightly down. But
Okay.
overall, still a very good episode. So that's why, I mean, I would, if we're doing, the little decibels type of thing, A plus, just not quite S tier for me.
Okay. Fair enough, dude.
Yep.
After the Nightly Neighbors, we had another fan favorite. We got a lot of people that really liked this episode, even before we watched it.
Right.
And they seemed to like our review of it as well. The Tale of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And I remember I was editing this episode that we did, and I called it The Tale of the Sorcerer's Stone, like at least one time.
Yeah. That's kind of an easy mistake to make, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's something I would definitely do.
Yeah. First, well, thanks for sliding with me on that.
Yeah, I got you.
So The Tale of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. I mean, my favorite there, I had loved two parts of this episode, and those were the cinematography. Everything was, green and purple and foggy, which
Right.
looks amazing on camera.
Yes.
And the dude, Goth, the deity that they were kind of hiding from, Goth, he was amazing.
Yeah, that's what really sold it for me, was his character.
Before I rate it, I want to know what you're rating it.
I enjoyed it, but I'm going to give it like a high B.
Same.
It's, again, I mean, it's a good episode, but it's not one of my favorites that I'm like taking with me to a desert island type of thing,
And I didn't mean to like hype it up just a second ago, only to give it a B. I mean, a B is still very good.
It is. I just think it's one of those well-renowned episodes within the community where people seem to really like this episode.
Absolutely, dude. Cool. Booking. Oh yeah, the Tale of Jake and the Leprechaun. I forget about this one, dude, but it's such a fun one. I remember didn't you make several points about the set design and the costumes?
Yes, that's kind of what sold it for me, with the little creepy factor on it, just because the initial, when you initially see the leprechaun, when he like really shows his true form, that was pretty unsettling and creepy. I thought that was pretty good.
Do you mean the old man?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, he was a banshee. He wasn't a leprechaun, right? He was a banshee.
Oh, you're right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And he needed to eat a child once every 7 years to maintain his power.
Yes.
So the storyline was a little bit, I don't know, kind of just pulling things from different sources, it seemed. But I would agree with you. The set design,
that's what sold it. That's what sold it for me. But the overall delivery, and also the kind of the what would I call it? I don't know, the controversial, a couple of controversial things within the episode. Don't know where you're at with it, but I think I'm going to give it another average, a C, probably where I'm at with it.
I would agree. And it's got nothing to do with the controversy or...
No.
I mean, certainly this would not be made in the same way today in the 2020 somethings, but I mean, that's just...
Yeah, that's not
any justifications.
It's not degrading the grade for me, but it's overall it just was, and it was just not one of those episodes where I was just like, good, not great, decent, another episode type of thing. It wasn't one of the ones that stuck out.
Word. I would agree with you on the C though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I loved one of my favorite parts about this episode was how the battle of like good and evil was actually taking place in front of a studio audience.
Yeah.
And they had no idea, right?
Cool.
They were just watching a play.
It was a play. Yeah, for sure.
I like that. And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, here we go. Cue the Roger Klotz electric guitar music now, dude.
Everybody don your Metallica shirt or your Walmart grade Metallica shirt that doesn't actually say Metallica on it. It just has a couple skulls and
your knockoff Iron Maiden shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, what a
phenomenal
good
episode.
One. What a
Such
great
a
one.
good episode. I think this one, without a doubt, I don't really have to think about it. This one's S tier for me, just with all the elements of creepiness, the bully, the big bad, or the big bad in it, and the bully within it is just it sold it so good for me. Just hit home.
Absolutely, man. There were so many highlights to this episode. I'm having a hard time like condensing them down
Yeah.
into anything coherent like this. Again, I'm not even like a cinematography dork, but I I appreciate it, and I
Mm-hmm.
know kind of what's happening and kind of why they're doing what they're doing. And dude, it's just every shot which is so
Yeah.
well thought out. And you know what? I just remembered that scene where the truck runs over the dude's bicycle in the road,
Yes.
right? And then you see that wheel come into the shot. It's so cartoony. Oh, it's very cheesy.
It is, but it was well delivered and it was good. It was really good. Everything about
Absolutely.
it, especially the doll really creeped me out too. That scene where that doll pops out of the basement door.
How could you not talk about the doll, man?
Yeah, that there's speaking of phobias, the doll. I'm not really a big fan of porcelain dolls, so that scene really got me, and I can only imagine what it would have done to me as a young child watching that too. So
that's surprising that you have a porcelain doll thing, because you've made something with that before.
yes. So even as I'm doing it, it's a little unsettling. Like, oh, that's kind of creepy. Okay, yeah. Even as
Facing
a
your
33-year-old man, yeah.
I've got a weird phobia too, but I'll tell it later on when we get into when the streetlights come on in the episode. And
Okay.
I'll save it for then.
Okay.
So what was after dark music? Oh, dude, there's 2 episodes left in season
Prom
1.
Queen, right?
Yeah, the tale of the prom queen. I was just talking to somebody about this episode on Reddit. There's an Are You Afraid of the Dark subreddit that I pop into every now and then.
Yeah.
Since I'm an expert in the field now.
You run that subreddit, right?
And absolutely no, I do not.
Okay.
No, but somebody did mention Tale of the Prom Queen and how they really appreciated the ending and they didn't see it coming. Now, that tells me they're not super familiar with ghost stories.
Right.
Because it's while it's not obvious, and if you're just kind of watching this as like I don't mean this in like a negative way, but as a normie who just kind of consumes media as it's presented to them, and you don't actually get ADHD obsessive about certain things,
right?
Then yeah, you may not see the ending of this coming, but whether you saw it or not, dude, it was still satisfying.
Oh, for sure. And I like the lens, the Nickelodeon Are You Afraid of the Dark lens that was kind of put on this age-old tale that's been told time and time again, but it was told in a different enough way and delivered in the right way that I really enjoyed it, because this is another one kind of like the Tale of the Twisted Claw could easily mess this up. Even, I mean, trying to transition what it really is or what the core value of that tale is and then move it into kind of a kiddie way and with like kid gloves on. I can imagine that's got to be a little bit difficult thing to do if you're still trying to have some kind of creep factor, and they were able to pull it off. So,
agreed. So, are we going? Dang, dude, I would shoot.
This one's actually pretty tough to put a grade on, honestly.
Again, I'm feeling good today, and I'm feeling generous, so my gut says S tier, but
yeah, I want to give it an S tier, but I think I'm going to go with an A just because I'm going to do the same thing I was talking about earlier when I put it up right next to like Super Specs or Dark Music, and those still have the edge for me. So high A for me. Very good episode though.
I'm with you on that. The thing that's not doing it for me is Jam. That
oh my gosh, yeah.
You know that exactly guy. Who I'm talking about.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah, man. So he brought it down a little bit. He was too much, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And then finally, season 1 finale of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's called The Tale of the Pinball Wizard. All over the place.
Yeah, it was very hard to keep up with this episode for sure. I mean, there's elements of it where I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I'm like, wait, what? We just took a sharp right turn and I have no idea what direction we're headed.
Somebody commented recently about our opinion on the Men in Black. Let me see if I can quickly find it.
Okay. All right.
Give me a second to look. While I'm doing this, did you have a favorite part of the episode? Did you have a least favorite part of the episode?
I don't even know, man, because there was just so many times where I was just like, "What?" Like I think the whole spraying water. I don't know why that really took me out of it, and there's just too many moments where I think it was supposed to be serious, but I was laughing, and as I don't know, it was again there was elements to it and moments where I'm like, okay, I'm into this, and then not long after that, they would just immediately take me out of it because there's just so much going on at once. I feel like
I
they
see.
needed to pick a lane and stay there, but that was just shoehorning too much stuff in.
Agreed. So here's the comment that somebody named Richie said. He said, so many podcasters, episode reviewers, and general viewers are confused by the Men in Black. He goes on to say, when Ross is playing the pinball game before he finds them all closed, he's naming different creatures or character types he's fighting against. One of those enemy types is zombies. All right. I think there's a point to this. Since they're in a mall, the characters that show up are clothed from the stores in the mall. Oh, so the zombies are wearing black suits and hats because they're wearing clothes from the mall. Ross.
So those were actually supposed to be zombies.
I mean, I'm going to
I
have to
didn't
go
even
back
know
and
that. I didn't even know
rewatch.
that. Yeah. I mean, they were kind of moving in like a zombie fashion, I guess, kind of like stuttering, like moving, swaying back and forth. But I guess I never really made the connection that those were supposed to be zombies.
Okay, check this out. The last line in his comment that might actually tie up the loose end. He says, Ross, which is the main character of this episode, rips the one guy's arm off because he's rotting and undead. Do you remember that part?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Okay.
Didn't he just straight up dismember one of the Men in Black?
Yeah, he did.
So, according to Richie, it's because they're zombies and they just happen to be dressed in clothes from the mall.
Okay. I mean,
that checks out.
Yeah, I definitely would have never came to that conclusion, but I'm happy somebody else either figured it out or knew that from their own research. But okay,
thank you, Richie.
Yeah, thank you, Richie.
So I would rate this episode B, C, and D.
Yeah, it's there's again,
honestly,
just
dude,
like I'm
D.
gonna sound like a broken record here. There was elements to it that were enjoyable, but then just a few frames later, or a few seconds later, I'd be like, "What?"
I'm going D on this one.
Yeah, I'm going D. I'm sorry, it's not Hungry Hounds bad, but it was just too much. Do you remember the scene where he's sitting in the king's chair, getting pushed around the mall, and then that big barbarian guy just comes up and just screams in his face for no reason?
Yeah, yes, I do. Why did that happen? Maybe Richie can tell us.
Yeah, Richie, can you deep dive for me and get me that one too? Because I need to know the backstory on that one.
We need his dive to be deeper than ours, man.
Very, very true.
So that's the official 90s Nightmares ranking of every episode in season 1. If you're still watching this episode this far into it, thank you so much, man. We're doing this show for you. So thank you for sticking around.
Yes.
Love you. Happy you're here. The streetlights are on. And if you remember growing up as a kid, when the streetlights came on, you either went home or you were one of the cool kids and you hung out. Right?
Yes. Get the cigarettes out.
So here we are. Streetlights are on. We're deep in the video now. This is where this is the toxic male masculinity portion of the episode rears its head, because we're going to talk about which one of these big bads we could take on in a fight.
Yes. So, spoiler or warning, whatever you want to call that.
Let's start with where we are now, and we'll work our way back to episode 1, The Tale of the Pinball Wizard. Now that I know, thanks to Richie, that the Men in Black were zombies.
Yeah.
Easily. I mean, I know there were several big bads in this episode, but I'm just going to focus on the zombies.
Yeah, I could just, and then the dude at the end was defeated by water. So I could literally I don't even have to have a squirt gun on me. I'll just walk around with my water jug like I always do. And then if he gets close, I'll just spit water at him and then
cheers him a little bit too hard and just get him a little sprinkle.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. What was
Prom Queen's next? We're
Prom
going in.
Queen. Thank you, sir. So there was no big bad, but I mean, I'm not fighting Judy, the ghost.
No, I'll fight
She's
Jam.
cool.
I'll fight Jam if that's an option. I think Jam's more of a big bad than anybody in this one.
if there
because he
was
was
an
kind of a douche.
antagonist in this story,
Yeah.
it was definitely him.
For sure.
Yeah, we're fighting Jam, and he may be much taller than me, but that dude weighs 130 pounds.
Yeah, soaking wet. Yeah, we can. I think we're good.
Dark music. Oh, dude, the big bad. There was such a vague, what's the word I'm looking for? Malleable, fluid. I didn't click on the thing. The idea behind this story was that the big bad was whatever you were afraid of. Kind of like that thing from Harry Potter where it's just whatever you're afraid of, it just becomes that thing.
Right.
So knowing that, and knowing that now that we're in the Streetlight Gang, my biggest fear is legit bears.
Bears, okay.
I don't know.
I mean, that's a legit fear.
I mean, I've seen bears in the zoo, but I mean, it's just for some reason, they're just so much bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah, they're huge, for sure.
And they're incredibly strong. I don't even want to be within 100 feet of one in the wild, dude, because
no,
I'd shit.
Yeah.
So, and I'm in the woods, and the bear would shit too. Is that how the saying goes?
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
So knowing that the actual big bad is bears for me, can't fight it.
Yeah, I think, well, if we go off the information that we figure out at some point that music is what cues or instigates our biggest fear, I would have a very big problem with that because music is a very large portion of my life. So music is literally always playing in my household, even, day or night. So it would be very tough for me to have to not have any sound or anything playing or music going. And then obviously if I turn music on and my biggest fear shows itself, or I don't think I'm going to be able to beat this one because this one's tough. This one's tough.
Imagine with me, Booze. It's you chilling. You're doing dishes in the kitchen and you've got music on, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's 100 3-foot tall porcelain dolls.
Yeah.
Closing in on you.
Yeah. The only, I would, I guess, as you said earlier, I would shit myself.
Let's talk about the bully real quick. I don't want to fight the bully. I want to be his friend.
I do too.
He's cool.
Yeah, I want to throw bikes in front of trucks with him.
All right. Who's the big bad in Jake and the Leprechaun? The Banshee.
Yeah, the Banshee.
Totally could take this dude in a 1v1 fight.
I think so.
Because his main power is children once every 7 years.
Right.
He needs to be taken out.
I don't think it would be too big or too difficult to fight that one.
Even with magic.
Yeah, I think we're still good. Again, the porcelain dolls are still a little bit more frightening to me. So,
the big bad in the Sorcerer's Apprentice was the deity known as Goth. Now, if you remember, Chlorine.
Yeah.
Chlorine took him out.
Yes.
Now, if I could get this dude in a pool, which easier than you'd expect, come to find out if you watch the episode.
Right.
You know what? Chlorine makes me a little bit itchy every now and then. If I'm in the pool for too long, I get like some rough elbows.
Yeah.
It straight up takes this dude out. It annihilates him, man.
Yeah. And do you have like 5-gallon just laying around of chlorine around your house, or?
I got a couple behind me on the other side of the set here.
Cool. Well, then you're good to go then. I might have to come borrow some just in case Goth decides to show himself, and I'll lead him into a pool. And then, I mean, it's funny. It's kind of similar to the Pinball Wizard, where it's kind of something super random ends up taking this guy out too. So
it's called subverting your expectations. You're like, oh, that's the thing that takes him out. I did not expect that.
Okay, yeah.
But if I can't get him in a pool, I think I'm toast, dude.
Yeah, that would be the only thing is somehow convincing or, leading him into a pool and having that much chlorine, present and ready to go.
The Tale of the Nightly Neighbors. These are actual legitimate vampires. As long as you don't let them in.
As long as you don't invite him in. Like, I think his mom, was it his mom that invited him in, I believe?
Yeah, mom was like, come on in. Well, you're welcome anytime.
Anytime. Like,
and that's all they needed to hear.
Just don't invite him in and you're good, right?
You just have to not be polite. And then that's kind of how you skirt around having to fight a vampire. But I think I think if it was 1v1, I don't know, dude. They can fly. Well, no. Do you remember that scene where one of the kids or both of the kids hid under that 4-foot high table with no coverage?
Yes.
And then the dad was still like, I have no idea where these kids went. So maybe they can fly, but they're blind. Oh, they're blind as a bat. Is that a thing? Is that a vampire thing?
I've heard that saying before, so it must derive from something, right?
Interesting. Okay, cool. So just hide under literally anything. You don't even have to be covered.
Yeah, just follow the rules. Don't invite them in. Hide under tables. That's a pretty big one,
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah, you're good to go.
We got that one. Captured. Uh-oh. I clicked on something I wasn't supposed to. Captured souls. Peter was the big bad. yeah, dude, we're absolutely smoking this guy. Absolutely.
I think we should be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be on the pipes, or like watching you just do pull-ups on a random pipe, so
that means something else.
That's true. You can take that however you want to take that, viewers. How about that?
All of a sudden this is a choose your own adventure podcast. Dude,
yeah.
We should do one of those, man. Actually do like a live choose your own adventure of something.
I'm more than down. I absolutely adore like the story rich choose your own adventure games, like the Telltale games and stuff like that too. So I am very into that.
Can we move on? Can we not talk about Peter anymore?
Yeah, let's just move on to the super specs.
Yay! Cool. So the big bads in this one was the interdimensional shadow figures.
Yes.
And I don't know. If you catch them early enough, I think we got them. I think maybe Booze and Darek together, we can take on a couple of them at the same time.
Right. But if you've never donned the glasses, does anything ever happen? Or is it going to happen regardless? You can just now see it because you have the specs on.
Oh, my brain. Okay, so if you take on the glasses, then you're able to see them. Well, they know that you see them. I don't know, dude. I think it happens either way.
Yeah.
But the bad part is now you're aware of it happening and you get to watch it in real time.
Yeah, that's true, because they were getting closer and closer, obviously, each time they put the specs on. So,
and there was more and more of them. One of the things that I think one of us mentioned in the original recap episode was that the scare factor kept going up throughout the entire episode. It started with just one shadow figure, and then there was like 3 of them, and then there was like 5 of them playing basketball, which was so funny.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there was, dozens of them.
Yeah.
So that was super freaky just to watch play out. Yeah, dude, I don't know. No, because it's not up to us. Do you remember in the episode, it wasn't up to the 2 characters. It was up to like the Sardo of our universe, which is not helpful.
No, not at all.
So you have to be in the universe where the Sardo is actually competent, and that's not up to you.
Yeah.
It's a coin toss on that one, dude.
It can go either way.
All right. What came before super specs?
I believe it was the Hounds.
Oh, God.
The Hounds.
I want to punch that staircase.
Yeah.
Remember that staircase?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes,
I can just... I'm not even like an angry guy, I promise. But like if we're talking about, people that we could fight in these episodes, I'm not fighting the girls or even Giles, the stable keeper that was actually a little bit scary in the episode. Yeah. I'm taking that staircase down, dude. One punch at a time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It was, I don't know. There's too many things within this episode that's just, okay. Yeah.
Before... What happened, brother?
Twisted Claw's next.
Twisted Claw, thank you. What was the big bad in this one? I guess the claw itself, but the witch?
Yeah. I don't really see us being in this situation, because if I remember correctly, you said that you weren't one of those kids, those little hoodlums out toilet papering and shaving cream and stuff like that. So I just don't see us being in this situation. But I guess if we were, I feel like I'd be competent enough after the first wish to know, okay, these aren't coming or being granted in the way
Yeah.
that you think that they are. So
Yeah, you make one mistake. Hopefully it's not a traumatic one. And then you go, oh, I learned my lesson. I'm good.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Remember those bullies in this episode in that camera shot where it was, they were like circling the camera, getting like really up close through that
Yeah,
like
they'd like
fisheye?
they all had that same mask on.
That was silly.
That was good.
The 90s. The Tale of the Lonely Ghost. There's no big bad. There's nobody to really 1v1 on this one. I
Besides,
guess
what's
other
her
than
name? What's
that
her
Molly
name?
Ringwald
Yeah, her
Mallrat.
character like berating and just being extremely rude to the housekeeper like on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I can't really think of a big bad.
I'm not fighting her though. I mean, that's not cool. I
No,
would
that's
want
not
to
cool.
see, in the vein of, Molly Ringwald and 80s and 90s stereotypes, I would want to see the that character, like she was called the Basket Case from the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I'd want to see her 1v1 this knockoff Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, that would be a good time
I'd watch
for
that.
sure.
The Tale of Laughing in the Dark. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
This one would scare me so bad,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to fight.
right. I think so because it followed him to his home.
It knew where he lived. It stalked him. It toyed with him.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's a no from me, dog. I'm not
Yeah,
fighting
I don't
Zebo
think
the
so.
clown.
I don't think I can really do much against Zebo.
Do you think Booze and Darek together? Yeah, probably, right?
Maybe. I guess I don't know. It's still tough in my mind because I don't know. Is Zebo actually like an entity or is he Zebo the carny?
Yes.
Never really got the answer to that, which is a kind of is I like that it did that, but at the same time I don't really know which one it is. But I guess if it's the carny, then maybe. But if it's an entity himself, I don't see us being able to do much against that.
Do you remember the Carney's like famous line?
Something about pick the right door and you'll go free, something like that. And pick the wrong door and there he'll be.
Yes.
Is that the famous line you're talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
That was
What a
good.
one.
That was good. Good delivery too.
And then here we are at Tale of the Phantom Cab. The big bad in this one is obviously Dr. Vink. And I mean, he's not magic. He's not a deity.
No.
He's just a weird dude that lives in the woods.
Yeah.
And, well, hold on a second. He's cursed people. So, I mean, there is some level of witchcraft or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, on some level, there has to be. He's kind of the Wish version of Hagrid. That's immediately. I mean, you can't not watch this episode and not think Hagrid. Like
Absolutely,
middle of the woods
dude.
hut dude looks pretty much just like him. But yeah,
did you hear a tiny bit off topic? Did you hear that Harry Potter's getting a series?
Oh, I did not hear that.
Yeah, every book is going to get its own season, so there's going to be, I guess, at least 7 seasons.
Oh,
entirely new cast. I mean, I'm kind of excited just to see what it looks like, what it sounds like.
yeah.
But I don't know. I doubt I'm going to make it through all 7 seasons.
That's a lot. I mean, I was just making the correlation here. I am a like huge giant Lord of the Rings nerd, and so when I heard they were making a TV show, I'm like initially, I was kind of gatekeeping it. Like, oh no, like you're not going to be able to stand par or even be close to the original trilogy. Like, just don't even try. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, it's more Lord of the Rings, so just shut up and watch it.
That's a pretty healthy perspective, I think.
Yeah, and I think
it's
I
more
feel like
of this thing that I love.
Yeah, it's the right way to go about anything. Like, I mean, you can gatekeep it if you want, but at the end of the day, it's more Harry Potter content, so you can't really, get too upset about that, whether you like it or don't like it.
I also remember, speaking of gatekeeping, and getting back to the fighting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not fighting an old man, but if I'm in his house and he won't let me leave until I solve a riddle,
Yeah.
And then I do, and then he gives me a second one.
Yeah. Then we're fighting.
Then we're yeah.
Then we're fighting.
Then we're doing this.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just gonna walk out this door.
Yeah.
Like you can try to stop me if you want to, but
So if your gatekeep thing from like your childhood or your formative years is Lord of the Rings, mine is I recently read, well, not recently, it's been like 2016, 2017, but it keeps kind of popping up every couple of years that they're going to do a Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind series.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, dude. I don't want that. I think that movie is just perfect exactly how it is.
Yeah, and it's one thing in the reason I didn't really like I think the Lord of the Rings TV show also would have been better if you just didn't stamp the Lord of the Rings on it. Once you do that, and I'm sure you can probably be the same way with yours, like it immediately takes it up to this level of, where you have that nostalgia or you think that like this is so beloved. Like once you put it into that category, it's just like the level of the bar is set so high that no amount of money or whatever is probably going to put it up to par with whatever it is too. So
got it.
I think that's just really what it came down to for me, not to go on too much of a tangent, but yeah, I'm very similar with what it's very easy. It's the easier thing to do is just be like to kind of immediately poo-poo it or be like, no, man, like don't do that. Don't ruin it. Please don't ruin it. I'm just glad they didn't try to recreate. Is that what they're going to do? Are they going to recreate it or are they going to add to or go into the past before?
Are you asking about Eternal Sunshine specifically?
Yes.
I didn't get a whole lot of details, but I would imagine like there's this trend called a requel. It's like a reboot and a sequel. So it's like, yes, in this new TV show world, and I don't know if this is how they're going to do it for Eternal Sunshine, but like generally when they're redoing a bunch of this stuff lately, is they're aware that the original exists, and they're kind of like Scream 6 or 7 that just came out.
Yeah.
They know that the Scream character was a thing 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now fast forward and we're dealing with it again. So it's kind of like that. It's a requel. So
requel. Okay.
Kind of silly, but I mean, it makes sense. It's like one of the most practical ways to actually do something like that is to still. So anyways, no, I don't. I really don't want a Eternal Sunshine series.
Yeah.
I think it'll be boring. I think it'll be too dark.
Well, I mean, just even in the horror community or like if you're a big horror movie buff, like some of the remakes of like the classics that they've done over the last few years have just been awful. Like I hated the Pet Sematary remake.
Oh, did you?
It was awful. I did not like it at all. And I guess it's just, again, maybe it's just the old man in me, the old, like, like you're not going to be able to do what it did before. Just if you want to add to or go before, I'm with you, but don't try to recreate a movie that's already been,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
My in-laws saw that movie when it came out and I asked them how it was. And the answer was,
yeah. I mean,
that was that. And I was like, all right, cool.
It was a movie.
So are you liking the Halloween? The two, or like, I don't know. I need to get back up to date on that. But the last two Halloween movies, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends or whatever.
Halloween Kills was okay. And the most recent one, Halloween Ends, was awful. It was not good.
I started watching Halloween Kills, but it was late at night. I kept falling asleep. Yeah, dude. I do want to watch those, and I do want to watch Scream 6 and Scream 7 when it comes out eventually because it's in production now.
Right.
But yeah, dude. I just got a lot of catching up to do on all the modern stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I have plenty of time to do it. I just never take the time whenever I do. So
sticking in this reboot horror conversation that we found ourselves in, I would love a Cabin in the Woods series.
Yeah.
You seen that movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wouldn't that be sick, dude? Because there's like 30, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number out of my butt, dude. There's like 30 different monsters or lore aspects in that movie alone. Yeah, they all get their own episode.
There's so much potential there, and there's plenty of content to be had with that for sure. Yeah, I know. I mean, look at it. Evil Dead Rises is doing really good. I still haven't seen it, but I've heard really, really good thing about it. So I mean, it can be done. It can be done, and there's plenty of potential out there for it. So we'll see what happens.
Brother, let's call it, man. To the listener, I'm grateful for you. Booze and I both are. Thank you. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube what your favorite episode of season 1 of Are You Afraid of the Dark was, and also if you're listening on a podcast version, throw us a little review, man. Just tell us how you think we're doing.
Yes, thank you. We would greatly appreciate that.
Anything else from you, Booze?
I think that's it. I'm gonna, put all the rest of my tangents away, and hopefully, I think that's it.
All right, man. Well, I enjoyed spending time with you, Booze. I enjoyed spending time with you, the listener. See everybody very soon.
Very
season
soon.
2.
Absolutely. See you then.